Hello, my trading friends, and welcome back to Forex Focus, brought to you by IG. Taking a look at US dollar, gold, and even some crude oil as well in light of the escalating Middle Eastern tensions. I'm sure you've seen plenty of news around the Israeli-Hamas war that's been going on, and now Iran added to the mix as well, setting off a bunch of different risks in a bunch of different asset classes. But I do want to start the story with US dollar, because this is when one of the most consistent trends, I would say, as the geopolitical risks do rise. The US dollar has been rising as well. And you can see here on Friday trading day, when more news broke of a potential Iranian attack on Israel, we saw US dollar appreciation really across the board. Australian dollar off another 1%. The euro well below 107 now. Pound well below 125, as you had a number of large participants flocking to this US dollar and potentially flocking to US treasuries as well. Either way, no matter how you slice it, some overwhelming US dollar demand in most currency pairs. The only one that wasn't moving so much was this Japanese yen, and that's because Japanese yen also gets a little bit of a flight to quality in times like this. But yeah, US dollar putting in some new year-to-date highs in a bunch of Forex markets. Another market that's been trading a lot of all-time highs, gold. Gold prices have been moving around like crazy over the course of the last couple of weeks, probably in anticipation of the most recent escalation of these geopolitical risks here. And now that we've seen this escalation start to come to fruition, gold prices climbing not only above 2,300 or 2,350, but intraday on Friday getting well above 2,400. And we'll also talk about the potential for 2,500 here in this gold market that, has very quickly, since the middle part of February, gone from $2,000 to now trading, like I say, intraday above 2,400. But this one has been a little bit less direct amid the most recent escalation of these geopolitical risks, and for good reason. Of course, gold is a flight to quality in a lot of senses, but you've also seen some positive correlations between gold and the stock market, and so it's been pushed and pulled a little bit. Depending on when you're looking, it might be another all-time high, but also this market has been moving lower a little bit as well. A lot of back and forth, so to speak, as relative to the US dollar trade that's been a little bit more consistent in this positive correlation to Middle Eastern tensions. I also want to throw crude oil into the mix here as another commodity market that does have kind of that back and forth similar to gold, and I'll get to that in just a second. But the fourth, so to speak, the rising in crude oil prices is mostly tied to the supply side of things, given that a number of top crude oil producers globally are going to be very close to this war that could be escalating even further here. Obviously, Saudi Arabia and Iraq, but given that Iran now is in the news, you have a bunch of OPEC countries that could have their production affected in the coming days and weeks from this war. And we've seen how when the Russian-Ukrainian war broke out a couple of years ago, that drove crude oil prices pretty considerably higher. But again, this is one that we've seen the rallies and the dips as this event has been ongoing, and so not as direct a correlation as we've seen with this US dollar piece. And I want to get back to the US dollar here to show the price action here in the last couple of days, because it's been a pretty violent move higher in USD. And one of the most major markets, euro dollar here, breaking below 107. And you can even see in intraday trade getting really close to 106. And that's a level that we haven't seen since early November of 2023. And from there, the lows for the last year or so of trading are really 104, 105. So we're getting close to those lows that you'd have to look all the way back to where euro dollar hit parity a couple of years ago to get significantly lower prices. And that's to say, at 106 and change, we're only a couple hundred pips away from those recent lows. And as you see, the last couple of days, they've done damage to the tune of a couple hundred pips. And so volatility picking up in this forex market, as well as, of course, that gold and crude oil market. And when volatility picks up, that means a lot of different prices are potentially on the table. And so breaking below 107, 106, 105 very much in view for the next handful of days. Now, that being said, if some of these tensions are relieved, then you might expect some of the most recent moves you've seen in US dollar, gold, crude oil, and the stock market as well to reverse. That volatility can pick up in both directions, right? And I want to close with this gold piece to show again how volatile this market has been. Looking at the last 2 or 3 years of price action in here, this is a market that's gone from at its lows below 1700 to now trading intraday above 2400. Huge move to the upside. Of course, 2,500 is in play, given that this market has moved a couple $100 in just a couple weeks. But also keep in mind that the downside of this market, just as easily as they bake in risk, they can bake it out to a flight to quality asset like this. And so if news does change and turn in the opposite direction, or if the news stays relatively flat or stagnant, and the market just kind of takes some of the risk out of the market here, even though news isn't saying that, oh, the war is over or what have you, these prices can definitely move far in both directions in a short period of time. And so we'll see if that euro dollar gets to 106 or 105 and beyond. We'll see if this gold market can break 2,500. Of course, anything higher at this point is new all-time highs for gold, because we've been at all-time highs for the last couple $100 here. And we'll also be monitoring crude oil as it's gotten up into the mid-80s and has tried to break $90 a barrel, but hasn't had much success getting back to those highs that we saw a couple of years ago in triple digits. So much stuff on the table here. We'll continue to monitor the news and monitor the price action.